So, results day, eh? There was just the one council by-election in Rochdale. I got a phone call last week off the, he's like deputy leader of the Workers' Party, Imtiaz. He's alright. I like Imtiaz. He's a decent lad, but certainly a Rochdale fellow. He's been busy campaigning to win this council by-election, and it'd be a big deal. It'd be, a chance to send a message. And it's like, Reform have won a council seat in Rochdale with someone who none of us have ever heard of, no social media presence, no. They've put a paper candidate in, and they've got themselves a seat, and it's like they've not really campaigned. But the three other parties have gone hell for leather campaigning for it. Labour Party, Workers' Party, Conservatives. They've had a go at it. But Reform, it's just the independent Billy who put up. He got 180 votes. It's like not unsubstantial. The votes went to him would have likely found their way to the Reform guy if Billy hadn't stood. And the Reform guy be like, Reform can the name, the recognition of the name gets them elected. Not saying that the candidate that the Workers' Party put up were any better, because I've never spoken to her. But I had a conversation last week, and it's like, is there anything you can do for us, John, to help us? I'm like, I've fallen out with George, haven't I? And I haven't heard from him, and I'm not bothered. But I haven't fallen out with you. So I says to him, you need 700 votes. Just concentrate on getting 700 votes. Go and fucking bang where you think you might be able to win or do, and go and just concentrate on getting yourself 700 votes. And he says, how do you work that out? It's the way that it's split. And the number of people who'll turn out. They've got a turnout of about 33%, which is normal. Most people do not give a fuck. They will stay at home. They don't trust anybody. And it's a cult. A lot of young people up Kirkhope, they don't give a fuck, most of them. A lot of layabout types who are disenfranchised, who are completely alienated from the process and won't take part. So the turnout's 33% in a by-election that can send a message. So it's like, you only have to get people who don't normally turn out to turn out. There's fucking thousands of them who aren't going to be bothered. So, says to him, you need 700 people. That's all you're gonna need to win. 700. And he's like, you sure? Oh, yeah, absolutely positive. See, it's that straightforward to win it, you know. It's like what you do is you get Galloway, right? And you take him around 700 fucking houses, and your intelligence on who might be friendly to you in that neighbourhood, the locals who are running will tell you where to go. Will tell you who to ask. You can pretty much go door-to-door recruiting round there. George could. I'm not knocking George for not doing, but that would have worked. You just need 700. The electorate there's a lot bigger than that. It's probably about 8,000 or something. But only a third of them are going to turn up. So you need to add to that list. Go and find some fucking new ones. MTS says, where'd you get this figure of 700? Right, Rochdale. People who work for the council, either directly or indirectly as subcontractors. 10,000 of them. What? Yeah. 10,000. Like, wow. In that actually, the sort of the NHS fits in to that in Rochdale. NHS workers, council workers, government dependent contractors, 10,000 workers, Rochdale. And it's like, how many constituencies or wards in Rochdale are there? 12 so? Right, so you split the figure of 10,000 up by 12, and then allow them for them only voting in a chunk of about 85 or 90%. So there's a fall off. You need 700 votes to win any. If it's split, any 700 will always win at you. Oh, it's just the straight maths as to who's got it in their best interest to stick with the Labour Party based on promises made and livelihoods. So the Labour Party just have to say, we're not planning any redundancies, pretty much. We'll look after you. You've had your pay rise, haven't you? Yes. So that's enough to get them in every time. Those people will not protest vote over any political reasons because they've got very real reasons for voting Labour. And you have to accept that. You can't win it back. You have to accept that that's the Labour bloc. It's like these people who talk about this old Asian vote. It's like, no, they can push it over. They can push it right over and win any election when all the Asians turn out and vote one way. Usually, they're on side with the Labour Party. If the Labour Party loses, like the Muslim bloc vote as it stands, right, they can still win. If everybody whose family is a kind of company family, council family, if they all turn up and vote, if they put the word out amongst themselves, hey, government cuts, otherwise they can get their uncles out, their aunties out, their grandmothers out. That's the nature of this chunk, this block. The Pakistani vote is a threat to it, but usually plays along, plays ball. You can get an MP returned in Rochester with 30,000 votes sometimes, with a small turnout in an election. So it's like, these numbers are, it's almost, sacrosanct. Don't ever go against the numbers the way that I decipher it. So I'm like, MTS, you need 700 votes. Just go and get them. The turnout's 33%-ish. There's no turnout. That's quite good, actually, for a Rochdale by-election, 33% turnout. Can you believe that? Most of the time, you'll go to canvass and it'll be fuck off. That's why you need fucking Galloway to canvass for you, because he can just turn up on someone's front doorstep and they might open the door for him. So don't I know you? Whether they say something good, bad or indifferent to him. We get their attention. It's like Workers' Party haven't got enough of them. We've needed a few showstoppers. But it's like Monty Panesar signed up for the Workers' Party, didn't he? But it's like, we need a few more. We need fucking like Robbie Williams to turn up shaking people's hands or something like that. Seriously, he's one of the best I've ever met. Glad handing him. Get him. He's brilliant at it. That look you in the eye and shake you by the hand. Wow, he's good at that. Go and get him. I'm telling you, it's like that's what they need. The Workers' Party need a few people who can turn up, and people be like, hey, I'll answer the door to him. That's what they need. It's like in a council election like that, if you'd had somebody like who was prominent campaigning for you, people might actually want to talk to or see or be curious about, they'd open the door. You only need 700. And it was like, it's to win another seat in Rochdale would be a good do for the Workers' Party of Great Britain. They've got two. They'd have the neighbouring constituency to the two they already hold. Would have been great for them. Would have been great for them. It's like they'd have actually got themselves a foothold in a block of the town. So it was an important one for them to make inroads. Billy, last time they ran a council election, he ran for the Workers' Party, but Billy decided he reckoned he'd have more chance of winning without them. And I'm like, really? Billy probably stopped Reform's win from being bigger. Because I know Rochdale, and I'm not a denizen of Cocolt, but it's rather strange as to where, if I was to go and have a bit of a mosey around Cocolt, The kids who were playing in the street, I went to school with their grandparents, you know. So it's like, I know half of Cuckold because of the school I went to being just up the road. For them, it was the local school. For me, I was travelling from the other side of town. So I know those guys from school. I kind of know the spirit of the place. It's not so it's not so different from them where I come from. It's a great big fucking expansion, hilly council estate built on fucking awful land. That's what it is. Cocolton Balderstone is a poor neighbourhood. It's a great big council estate with a couple of big schools. Not much business to speak of, like on it. Some, but not a lot. So I'm like, yeah, they're not turning up for you. They're not turning up for anyone. Those people. You need to go and fucking get them. So, result comes through today. The Reform guy won with 766 votes. Well, there you go. He got just enough extra turnout. Reform dragged out a few people extra. Labour vote did not turn up. They got about 660. Workers' Party way back on 400 votes. So the margins are real slight, real tiny. They see that Labour victory in the last general election was a fragile thing. There was a fuss last night as well as to where in today Billy's got a recording of him going around as to where he's caused a kerfuffle, that's a local word, a kerfuffle at the count, where it's actually been cut down and taken out of context, but the story, you look at it as to where it's like, Billy caught them cheating at the count again. He's caught them cheating, and he's had it addressed, and they've fixed it and carried on the count. So Billy's actually caught them cheating at the count again. Now, last general election, they were caught cheating at the count there as well. That was supposedly going to be a criminal case. And I just never have heard another fucking word about it. First it was going to be suing this and suing that, and then it just suddenly went away. And I'm like, you shouldn't mouth off like that. And then that be to George Galloway, that you shouldn't mouth off like that unless you're actually going to go all the way. Not round here. Don't give people hope like that. This town's been desperate for fucking any ally at all for years. And it's like, we got George as an ally as long as because he's a busy man, you see. It's like, he can be off doing. Go back to being semi-retired. So as much as guys like Imtiaz can count on George for support, advice, George's party doesn't function without George because it's got no other leading lights. And George be campaigning elsewhere. So it's like, meh. To spread out far too thin, that's always Galloway's problem, in my estimation. He is spread far too thin, where I think a lot of where he found himself friendly with Tate. I think his research has been outsourced and he's been tremendously poorly let down. Everyone within the Workers' Party I've spoken to, and there's not so many people, I get phone calls from people ostensibly of it's got an organisational structure, so I get phone calls from time to time from like people who are from branches and stuff like that, and say to them, no mate, I only talk to George Galloway and Imtiaz. What? Yeah, I'm nothing to do with your party. It's like I made friends with your two leaders. I'm just their guy. Get to talking to those grassroots sort of activist people who, in many respects, are former Labour. These guys are veteran political activists have been ringing me up as being part of the Workers' Party. And they'd be union people. They'd be old Labour. You're like, you've left us behind. You're doing all right by the people who are in the public service unions, but you're leaving everyone else behind, aren't you? them sorts. I've had them on, and everyone I've spoken to has shown a great distaste or a bewilderment as to George Galloway arse-licking Tate. And holding out a branch of alliance to a political party that did not exist, will not exist, does not exist, supposedly set up by Andrew Tate when Andrew Tate's mouthing off a few weeks ago. He stopped doing it now, mouthing off that he was going to be the next Prime Minister of Great Britain. And George, in essence, creates an alliance with an imaginary entity. It's like your party has been sabotaged by the Tates and you just let them. It's like you let them. It's like you took money off them, or one of you did, took money off them. George told me to my face that he hadn't took any money off Andrew Tate, knowingly. It's nothing to do with him. But other members of the party had, which we now know about. Other members, George was telling the truth, but other sects of the party, very friendly with Andrew Tate, have allowed the Tate organisation to infiltrate the Workers' Party. And it's like, oh, well done. You know, Mr. Galloway, it's like, I've sent you quite a bit of information over the last few months. It's like I've been feeding you my intelligence, which is, you know, let's say my intelligence. It's what I think, right? And you've been fully fucking briefed that you should stay the fuck away from anything to do with that guy by me. And it'd be a matter of a kind of, where do you want me to start as to where this is not a good look? Certainly not a good look around. It's like asking women about what they think of him, and women vote too. And it'd be something like, I don't know, I don't see what the problem is with him. But they're the sort, they're the women who are very poor judges of characters. Frightens a lot of them. A lot of them have seen his ilk. Know that character better than a lot of the guys who are listening to. Oh, I've seen his kind before. He's basically, he's their worst nightmare, someone who turns on them when they're vulnerable. It's a disaster as to where the women don't particularly like Tate, and they all fucking vote. And the sort of women who vote are the ones who keep up to date with the news. And I'm very sorry to say that on the case of Tate, the BBC have actually done a good job, which is a disaster because the BBC get everything else wrong. The only thing that the BBC are right about is Andrew Tate. Why is that? Well, I was by on the internet, Nick Monroe, when he took the open and shut case to them, probably didn't know who he was dealing with. Maybe he should have gone somewhere else with that information. But it's like the BBC, big name, famous, but they've no credibility. So a big problem's happened where Tate has been globally exposed by the BBC, an organisation with no credibility, and it's allowed him to create his Matrix narrative. Oh, so he can say to the BBC, oh, suddenly you're telling the truth, are you? It's a decent game, decent trick. And it's like, there are those within George's organisation who's fallen for Tate's I'm with the Palestinians, blah, 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 where he's kind of, for a few weeks, hopped on the Candice Owens bandwagon. And she's fucking insane as far as I'm concerned with her current Jew-Israeli rantings. You know what she's doing? And it's unbelievable. You won't believe it if I tell you. Mossad don't generally advertise any other activity. Nothing at all. They just don't deny anything either. She is creating the illusion of an almighty sort of powerful, intelligence-led Gestapo, I don't know, fucking an intelligence service gone wild that's got its claws into everything and has been kicking around since the dawn of time practically. And it's like, as long as they've got her spreading bullshit about them, why would they ever need to spread any bullshit of their own? She's mythicalizing them. She's mysticizing them. And that helps them. It's always helped them. People are afraid of the Israeli intelligence services. And it's like, have they ever heard anything big that they've done in the last few years? They admit it when they pull off something that's impressive. Otherwise, they're completely anonymous. They don't mind that they get blamed for everything as well, because it's the notion is, well, maybe we did. Maybe we did interfere with an election. Prove it. So their attitude is always, well, maybe we did. And it's like, okay, if you want to be crazy, it's like to start going up against like what would be sort of Jewish or Israeli or Mossad sort of meta defenses, like propaganda war, mind war. It's like, do you not think that they're not the masters of that? It's like if she's under the influence of anyone out in the world by way of she's working as a shill, she's doing a hell of a job for the Israelis. She is. Because you won't say this. You won't. She's doing a hell of a job for Israel. Candice Owens. It's like I like concepts like counter intelligence. That's how I run things. Have somebody do the work we need them to do unwittingly. Be a fucking buffoon. So it's like you've got these, I mean, it's like she's, in essence, Candice Owens has been a wrong 'un from the start. She's got a right old mouth on her. But she's moved around, she's flipped and she's flopped, and she doesn't see this, where she hasn't got the mental capacity to break down what she's talking about. And she makes it about groups. And it's like, you've already failed. You're not actually bringing anything to the party here because you're just laying it on with a brush. It's like you're no different than the woke left who talk about men, but you're talking about Jews. You're just the same creature, but you're on a different side. And you're muddying the water the same way as they do. You're wasting everyone's fucking time. But it's like Andrew Tate, who's someone who's been easily able to manipulate her because she'd be the easiest person in the world to impress. She's not a very good judge of character. She hasn't got a very good sense of what's telling the difference between what's real and what she imagines. So she thinks Andrew Tate's brilliant. He goes on a little show and he gets to mouthing off. And he's seeking sympathy, playing the victim. And it's like, I don't know if he's ever had his dick in her, but she is certainly his bottom bitch. In a sense as to where she believes him. He has won her trust one way or another. She thinks butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. When all the evidence in the world would tell you something to the contrary. He's always been alright with me. He's a good lad. It's like, you're a poor judge of character and you've got a narcissism problem as to where you're omniscient. You're not seeing where these two things meet as to where a pimp comes along and sees that in you and says, oh, she's a dumb bitch. They've got a name for it. You're a dumb bitch. Be nice to her and she'll just reciprocate. She'll be the easiest person in the world to emotionally manipulate. So she gets knocked up. And then she starts to broadcast, and then it's like it's real easy for someone who's slinging a lot of mud to isolate themselves from the general public who might be leaving comments. They can just turn that off, walk away from that. What a job. I tell you, what a job she's doing for Israeli intelligence. You know, by way of PR. Brilliant. It's like we're at a state of war here still. It's they've maybe stopped shooting, but it's like it's far from over. It's only just begun by way of it being a psychological, ideological war. Israel doing whatever it's doing is still on high alert, but you don't hear of it having to really do a lot of mouthing off, do you? you've got these people out in the world like Candy Sowens who are creating the illusion of this almost unstoppable force. Above the law, beyond the pale, with its fingers and everything. It's like, give up. It's like, your enemy is far too powerful for you to organise something against. In the next 3 weeks or months, give up. It's like she does a terrible, terrible job demoralising the side that she is ostensibly on by creating the illusion of an enemy that cannot be detected, seen, listened to, reasoned with. Fuck off. It makes me laugh so much. But it's like them dickhead elements throwing that stuff around. Say your Tate talking the same way. He's gone along those lines as well. Your Candy Sowens and the like. It's like, if them people start telling you in your, sort of pro-Palestinian sensibilities that, hey, any friend's a good friend when it's war, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's like, absolutely not. It's like, that naivety is what led to basically the East being colonised by the West. Fucking Britain. How would we go about moving into another country? We'd forge alliances with them against their enemies and then fucking end up taking the place. So really? Don't you get this? It's naivety to think that that is the case. As to, he's got a big following on the internet. He's a strong voice for the Palestinians. He doesn't like the Israeli government very much. It's like, so he's your new best mate. Because bandwagons are so easy to jump on, and people get so desperate in their despair over the suffering of others. As to what I talked to Imtiaz, right, last week. And it's like, Imtiaz, by my reckoning, and from what he's told me, is actually very well off, a very rich man. He's in essence, he's the money. He's the money man of the Workers' Party of Great Britain, is Imtiaz. He's the money guy. He's the guy who pays for everything. And he said to me last week, it's like, I have a good life, mate. So I get up in the morning, nothing really to worry about, list of things to do, don't have to work too hard. I'm doing really well. And he said, I feel bad about it because of all of those who aren't doing well. Now, some people would commend that, wouldn't they? They'd be like, "Oh, you're a kind person, you're a giving person." And I think that's the compliment he might have been fishing for. But it's like, fucking hell, you don't know me as well as you think. Like, well, mate, it's like you're a mug. What? It's like you never feel ashamed for you doing all right. Bring that with you. Be that. Don't be feeling sorry for other people because they've got less than you. That's self-defeating. Don't ever let that be your attitude. So it's between him and his conscience how he's coming to money, how he's been successful, isn't it? Like, be that. Don't be that person who feels sorry for people. Be that person who say, look, now I've got a steady foundation under me. I can help you. I can help you. I can help you. It's like, lead from a position of strength. You've got one. Don't be feeling sorry for it. Don't be feeling bad because you have more than others when you've done your bit. Not to say they haven't, but recognise where you've been fortunate. It's like, lead, bring your knowledge. Don't feel bad about being successful. No, you should be proud that you've done well, that you look after your families, like kids are privately educated and all that lot. If your heart bleeds for the plight of others like that, and you feel somehow guilty for having succeeded, you're off on the wrong foot, as far as I'm concerned. It's like too many people like that have got into politics. I want to help, and it's like, no. There's other ways you could help. It's like you're stronger than most people. You can fight for them. It's like don't be someone who's feeling sorry for people. Be someone who's fucking seeing the right and wrong of it and fighting for them. Them councillors, you know, there's one or two of them, there's a couple of them, Workers' Party councillors. One of them, Farouk, it's like he loves a fight. You see, he's got it in him. He fucking loves it. He loves the argument. He loves the conflict. He wants to get stuck in. It's like, yeah, and pretty good at it too. You, someone who will jump in. Will. What the fuck is this? It's like he's not feeling sorry for people. He's seeing the right and wrong of things and being like, hey, this is out of order. Is that's the thing, you know, that bleeding heart. I reckon it's a, you know, you say it's a common thing amongst that group. I ain't saying it. They think it's a strength, right? And I'm like, hey, God bless you with your good intentions. God bless you. But you leave yourself wide open to just be annihilated. And you'll be ineffectual because of it. And that's the reason why, you know, the old sympathetic left have just failed. Is because of their inability to discern as to, well, it's not going to, we need to compromise here. And not being the best at negotiating, not being the best at communicating, not being the best at seeing a bit of reason, which is seeing it so they've, it's like the left, you know, like the old left, because that's what the Workers' Party is a manifestation of, the old left, never fought, really, against the emerging woke left. Never really fought them. Because in principle, they stood for the same things. But woke left as a means of using the state as a weapon in order to play all kinds of power games with an unfair advantage. That's not something that's occurred to these people. In a lot of regards, it's never occurred to them that people would be so wicked, and the people that they feel sorry for are imaginary, angelic, innocent, and the world doesn't appear to have that many of those. And the ones which we can certainly identify being children, they've utterly failed to defend them as well. They've taken for granted that, oh, the schools did a good job of defending me. Well, you've done all right, middle class. They're absolutely fuck. Some of these say, I say, the dangers, you see, this is a thing with woke right. We talk, there's a thing, as James, as Lindsay started it, woke right. And he doesn't seem to be able to, he needs to be able to nutshell it in a way that people understand the problem of the woke right and who they are. And the best I've come up with is, you know, the left, the radical left, have got a severe problem with narcissistic personality disorder in their ranks. And all of it's faulty thinking, and so's the right. So's the right. Exactly the same people on either side. Carrying a different flag. They are heading for a collision, something like looking across the battlefield on Christmas Day in World War I and realising that we are exactly the same scumbags as our enemy. As to where we run the risk as a society of them motherfuckers joining up in the middle and delivering what both of them want at the same time. That they come to an agreement without the rest of us. And we allow the psychopaths, fantasists, rebel rousers, sectarians, tribal right, join forces with the left when they see eye to eye and come to realise that they are exactly the same creature. They're the people who are the two sides of the fucking opera. They're playing all the parts. Have all the same weaknesses, all the same tendencies, and most of them the same, in essence, chances. We've got a world full of chancers who don't know what they're doing, but are doing it. Chancers, all of them. So they can't all be chancers, can't they? When the position or the candidacy or the microphone or the platform, they choose very carefully in every case who is allowed to have one. Look at what they deliver. Look what impresses these people that we don't know who make the decisions as to who gets to speak, who gets to stand. Who the fuck are they? Big savage problem is now the emerging big savage problem is that the ostensible right is on the verge of going to war with itself because it fucking should. Because it's more or less fake. It's like you've got it where you've got. I call myself. I'm a conservative as to where I understand why the values need to be protected. Why? I understand why. Crystal clear why. Right, okay. We need to defend the rights of the individual. Which we need to remember to fight for the rights we've actually already got. And this, as soon as it's become about collective, basically laws put down that affect people that identify a certain way, in essence, you've got a government-created collective. And as soon as I see that, I'm like, wow, that's witchcraft. You've given anyone who decides that they're a member of a certain minority the power of the state to bring down all kinds of institutional punishment on those who they imagine has done something to them. Imagine has done something to them or have said something terrible, equating words with violence, and it's like, oh, a court, and they'll fucking listen to that bullshit and pay you money for it. It's like that game has been played and played as long as all my adult life. Really, all my adult life, that game has been getting played. Someone leaves, you work with someone and then they leave the company and it's like, oh, why did you leave? Oh, I'm suing them. Oh, that must be fun. Games, right through the system. When they create those games and protections were put in place to protect those in the know, right? They weren't really designed for everyone to use them. They were there to best protect, those who might reach for, be litigious, who wanted to protect their untoward behaviour. I don't think they were designed for everyone to use the way they have. And the way they've found their way into legislation, it's like you go to... went to work one morning and there was something that was on my desk and it was called Best Practice. And I'm like, well, what's this? You need to sign that. Someone in HR has decided what your job is. And you are... you now have to sign to agree as to what your job is. It's like, oh, you found you're inserting a load of clauses in my contract of employment and forcing me to sign them, as to say, this, if you go over and above these sort of guidelines we've given you in doing your work, we reserve the right to sack you, because that's against government. Or in fact, it was actually put forward as that best practice, which is a government scheme. And it's like, hang on a minute, you've unionised us here. This is working to, you're asking us to work to rule what? Yeah, you're imposing on us. And that, they were chancing their arm. We got a new HR department. The new HR department woman, she fucking did everything she could to get rid of me. When that document turned up on my desk and I get reading it and I'm like in front of everybody, it's like fucking sales floor, and I get up and I says, I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, you're my boss, you're not qualified to tell me how to fucking do my job because you've never done my job. It's like, woman from HR, she's never done my job either. And I know my job. You have me training others to do my job. Now, this thing is telling me what the ins and outs of my job are, describing what I do and saying, okay. And in their own mind, it was like a normalisation of their idea of the level of competence. It's really crazy what they were trying to impose. It's like, because I do the job completely different to the person who sat next to me. It's not that kind of game. It's not a structured thing. It's like, there's no robots do the job, and the ones that are robots are rubbish and generally really unhappy. Morale's just in the shitter. They're easy to manipulate as well. They get shit on, and they just become worse and worse at the job. They just become more and more dejected, and nobody wants to talk to salespeople who are dejected. They want to talk to somebody who watched the football last night and generally likes a laugh. That's who they want to talk to. You want to have it as to where you can have a laugh on a Monday morning. It'd be rubbish. It'd be Monday morning, and it'd be a laugh. Where you can just you can exchange words on firm's time for about 5 minutes, just having a laugh, having the crack, and then doing our business. And you'll find that all business is done like that. You will give the order to the guy you like talking to because he's a laugh and he's got good stories to tell you. So you give them stories for free and they give you orders. That's how the game works. You be someone interesting to talk to and they'll give you orders because you're making the working day a little bit more fun for them. They'll give it you. If they can get it a tenner cheaper somewhere else and talk to a machine, they'll save the 10 quid. But if they want to have a ring up and spend 5-10 minutes having a laugh and going through the order and all that lot and making sure it's right, they'll give me a ring. If they can get hold of me. Might be outside having a fag, but I'll ring you back. Especially when I smell money. It's like that game, right? That job, you know, the job of Mr. Commerce. It's not different. Being a sales guy at any level of the game is a similar job. And it's got a bad name. Salesmen have got a bad name because it's the job that's the most wide open to chancers, fraudsters, bullshitters. And people actually make the association that that's what they all are. It's not true. You get some who are good and bad at it. If you were good at it, you would understand that you're actually helping people. You're facilitating them getting what they want to get their hands on and making sure they take something home that's satisfactory, that does the job that they wanted it to do, that meets their expectations or surpasses them. Half your job is stopping people or talking people out of buying cheap crap and making do. And providing value. That's what the job's about. But fundamentally, making sure people get the right things so nothing's wasted. So time's not wasted. So, there's no question of returns. I never used to get stuff ever sent back when I used to sell computer gear, ever. No, you get stuff sent back because it don't work out. Never. You're like, why? That's because I used to make sure it wouldn't come back because I did it right in the first place. And before I was a salesman, I was the guy who used to organise the returns in customer service. So I've seen every mistake everyone's ever made. Got books full of it. Reports, books. Mistake. Seen every mistake that anyone's made. So I got to doing the job with basically the customer service manual under my arm. And it's like, okay, how do you make the customer service manual work for you? By understanding that if you don't do the job right, it all gets sent back and you don't get paid. And if you do the job again, it wastes time. And you create work for people like I used to have, as to where I'm snored to my fucking eyeballs, bringing back all the stuff you fucked up when you sold by telling people things it didn't really do because you didn't know what you were talking about. I was fucking smashing and weeding out bullshitting salesmen before I became a salesman. I was busting them out, reporting them. Like, this is a rip-off. This guy, your guy has just deliberately ripped someone off. It's just... And the company I worked in had a culture of it, as to where they defended each other and giggled when someone did something really fraudulent. So when I came up, I'm like, oh, well, there's no benefit to that because it always catches up with you. Worst person I've ever worked with for being cheeky on the telephone, and he used to do things like agree a price of £300 for something and then invoice it at £4 and see if they'd pay it. And then when they queried the invoice, he'd say, oh, I fucked up, just a keystroke, sorry about that. And he used to get away with it. And it's like, right, you didn't get away with it. Like, why? It's like, maybe that person who you've ripped off has kept that as to say, he's ripped me off, and has just kept it as a receipt. As to say, okay, I know something about him, I know something about them. Yeah, I'll have that fraudulent receipt, please. In the future, I might be able to use it as evidence against this organisation. Thanks for giving me something I could destroy you with for £100. Worst I ever knew for doing that and being cheeky, and I had to sometimes deal with the customers as to where it's like, he's deliberately ripped you off. And they used to laugh about it, say, he's a cheeky cunt. And people used to say, hey, well done, ripping off like that, making a few quid. And it's like, they used to approve of it if you could get away with it. And it's like, last I heard of him, he was on social media and he just joined the Facebook thing, and he was spinning this yarn, right, that he was married to this prison officer woman and he now lived in the northeast, and they had a mobile home and a couple of kids, right? No, not that he was living in a mobile home, that they had a mobile home as well. And with a mate of mine at the time who I was in touch with, who we used to work with, I'm like, right, have you ever known this guy ever tell the truth about anything? It's like, come to mention it, no. So have you seen that great big screed he's put up on Facebook about this is how his life is now? He says, has he showed you any photos? No. Right, I'm going to call him out saying it's a lot of lies. Don't take this the wrong way, mate, but I have a very hard time believing any of that. Came out in the wash, I was right. He was still living with his parents in Bury. And I think it was 4 or 5 years after that he'd taken his own life. If you're someone who lies like that, the depression that comes along with it, oh God, you wouldn't want to be that person. It's such a tragedy that someone has to lie like that. Such a tragedy. The other side of it, the terrible, terrible depression that leads to when you spend, and people believe it, and you're like, the kid, oh, the way it comes down on you like that, it's like, I couldn't, no. It's the worst thing in the world. And it's like, if that's your game, if that's what you're doing, if you're telling lies like that because you're too frightened of the truth, the truth is never such a big deal. People aren't wanting to. They don't want to marry you. You know, they don't want to. They don't want to hire your ass. They might just be like, "Hey, man, you decent laugh. You're a good guy. How are you? Yeah, good to see you." That's enough for most. That's all you should expect as well from others. You know, especially in this world of social media where we become familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. It's like, if you don't think you're worthy of, like, who are you trying to kid? People who bullshit like that. Let's say we find ourselves in a situation where people have got off on the wrong foot so many times that they're living in worlds of fucking fiction. And they're just humans. But living in worlds of fiction. Say you look at some people now who've got themselves a great big fucking audience. Oh, it's worse now for people popping off crazy and dragging people into just fantasy land. It's worse now, I think, than it's ever been. Well, you've got people who are engaged in dysfunctional public internet lives, and then you've got people who are private dysfunctional internet lives. Was that so? Their internet life has managed to destroy everything else, or same way as, you know, when the junkie runs out of money. That's the thing about this. The internet life that some people have found. Oh my God, don't people go stale quickly, don't they? You have to evolve. You have to show development. You really have to evolve to survive. You have to be fucking, not like David Bowie, just starting from not starting from scratch all the time. I mean developing to maintain an audience for years. As to where you're looking at some of these internet guys out in the world, as to that Styx Hexenhammer, he's gone to shit, hasn't he? It's like he's everything from being someone once so assured, there's a desperate clinging nature to his output, and now he's found himself being. It was difficult to troll him once because he was so sure about himself, and generally kept his house in order. For what people knew about him, kept his house in order, and could usually frighten troll. Most of his shit around him is about frightening trolls away. I do that too. I like to keep trolls frightened away. Just by, you know, a level of strangeness will always keep quite a few people away that you don't need. But he now he can't. He's wide open to anything. He's got chuckleheads off the internet openly mocking him, where once upon a time it'd be a matter of, it just would not stick. It wouldn't even find an audience. But hey, here we are. That guy's vulnerable. You're being poked at from all directions by often crackpot women who they've associated with, who've they've built relations with over the internet. And it's like, oh, doesn't that always work out great? You've no fucking idea who this person is. You've no idea where they come from. You haven't met her mother. It's like, again, Styx caught wrong with his cock out. And it's like, oh God, how often does this have to fucking happen before people come to fucking realise it's like people on the internet, it's like you should have a completely different approach to them. They are not like people you meet. It's different. You get to show your good side first on the internet, because you can get to choose what you put out. You get to show your good side first. Me, you come across me, you look at me, it's like, who's that dickhead? Get me to talk, and it's a matter of, oh, this guy's actually intelligent. But people have to get past that. Who the fuck's this? To get to that. But on the internet, I'm able to put forward that. I'm able to front load it. That, yeah, this guy can talk a bit, and he's quite insightful. Right? I can front load that. The other side of me that's like, looking at you as if to say, like, what? You'd never pick that up unless you were to meet me and see what kind of actual first impression I make. I'm allowed to, for 2 seconds, appear an off with a cigarette in my mouth, and then 10 minutes later you think, yeah, this guy's on to something, he knows things. Internet, I'm able to get off on the right foot every time if I wish to. Just straight in. I speak to my audience as if I'm speaking to my confessor. So for me, making a video is kind of a sacrament. I don't always put them out. In fact, in recent times, I've put out about probably as low as about 20% of videos I've made I've actually put out. Because it's part of my prayer. It's part of my ritual. I wouldn't. Do you know what this says? The thing. What are you in this for, Jan? It's like, well, I am on a crazy Kanye West style mission to save the world, like so many others. Find a better way of explaining it all. But no, it's a matter of I know, right, in my own little way I've contributed and brought some psychological weight to an argument in a few situations as to where, yeah, I've contributed. I've been around long enough. I've been around long enough for... I get funny with, say, Richard Grannon. He'd be sat up. He's actually quite good in a podcast situation, Richard, because he's not an unpleasant person. He's got a sense of humour. Not an unpleasant fella. But he doesn't credit me with things I taught him that he's then turned into bedrock of his work. And it's a matter of... I was like, for a bit for him, I'm like, he attributes me as being some wise man I once spoke to. And it's like, why don't you just fucking drop my name in there? It's like, I gave you in 2 minutes something I'd spent years working on. In essence, you know, one's, in philosophical terms, one's life's work was just handed to Grannon as just an offhand, oh, here's something you should know. How did you find this out? Well, I discerned it. I worked it out. It's counterintuitive, but it works. That's how wrong people's fucking minds are. Never, ever attributes it to me, but as... gained, he would have been given that same piece of information that I gave him to others, and they'd be like, oh my god, that's wow. Like, yeah. He couldn't have just said it's like an odd fellow who lives on a council estate in Rochdale told me that. Could never say that. Always had to be, on my travels I met a wise man who, and I used to resent him for it. A bit. Not a lot, but a bit. was too resenting for it. And I'm like, well, actually, there's no point, because the thing that I wanted to communicate, he did a better job of communicating it than I did. I could. He went a lot further with it, with say things you can teach people that help them. He went a lot further with it than I did. So I'm like, wasn't really my fucking insight anyway. I can't be the first person who worked that out. A lot of it come from my own studies into healing, psychology, from occult sources. So it's like, I might have nicked it off Manly Pete Hall, passed it off as my own, and repackaged it and give it to Richard Grannon. I can't really be altogether sure, but it was me who came up with the mnemonic, the thing you have to remember. So people have got the ability to, when they start feeling like they want to kill themselves, the ability to shut it down and control it. So it's like Grannon gets relatively famous and respected as being someone who's made psychological almost breakthroughs. And the best one's mine. There's also things I know about narcissism itself that I've tried to communicate to him, but I'm like, why tell him? Why give him something else? It's not the end, you know, being a fucking just that kind of, you know, chemical beast of the narcissist. It's not the end. Every day it's like there's always a choice to stop telling lies. Just to stop telling lies. And many people take it, and then the lies catch up with them, don't they? The thing that it's one of the poetic internet, you can't truly reinvent yourself, even if you were to have like a metamorph change of circumstances and insight. You'll never be protected from what you said in the past, and the cunt you were is always still out in the world waiting to come and get you. I think everyone in the world's in essence got something that someone could bring to them. Pre-internet, as if that didn't happen because no one's got the screenshots, no one's got the receipts. I realise sometimes I'm communicating with people as to where I've got for longer than most. I've understood that because of the way I was thinking at the time, when things like text messaging, paging, the way I used to think in them days about that form of communication, I've never dispelled it. So you wouldn't say that to me first, would you? Really, about the whole thing, and it's a matter of it's an opportunity to lay things on people that you would never have the guts to ever say in your life, and it's like you've opened the world up. You can't unread something. It's like you've given people the power of telepathy in these things, as to where they're communicating mind to mind, and however they take that message really is about them, the day, how it finds them. So you send a stable message to an unstable creature. It doesn't matter what you send, fucking crazy at the other end. What? Will always decide to take the fucking wrong end of the stick of anything you attempt to send in a text message. As to say, this is flawed. Don't use this communication method unless you're only using it for the process of intelligence, real fucking information, not I feel this, I feel that. No, you use it to pass information. You keep it on the level, text communication. It's like as if you're at work. Do not ever try to, are you for real? People have a romantic relationship with people that be a psychosexual affair. They'd be falling in love with a computer, really. Electric dreams and the like. The people who end up having emotional affairs with complete strangers via text messaging and end up suffering the emotional repercussions of breakups and betrayals when the message stops. Seriously, it's like, fuck. I love getting to talking about that with people. It's like, you ever fallen for that? It's like, yeah, I have. It's like, but when did you fall for it? 20 years ago. When were you? Fallen for it since? No. But there are so many who do. There are so many folk. It's like these guys who are pimping on using text messages, mobile phones. Half of it is ghosting people for a couple of days and they're like, he doesn't love me anymore. And then coming back and they're like, I've in the past, it's like I had affairs when I used to do when I just strictly used to do right, have you been like psychologically annihilated by a fucking narcissist? Well, you can talk to me. And the number of women I used to talk to who'd had that done to them. But they wouldn't sleep. They'd wait, holding the phone waiting for a text message. Why don't you ring up? It goes straight to voicemail. Been awake all night, holding a mobile phone waiting for a text message from some guy. It's like them are the first stages of shit testing. It's like if you put up with that, you'll put up with anything. If you put up with being treated like that, yeah, you put up with anything. Not difficult to suss someone out who's got time to spend 3 and 4 hours fucking going to and fro in text messages. Like, they ain't got nothing better to do than you, mate. You're today's entertainment. So that's been going on a long time. It's like that's been a thing since before the social media networks came along. That's been something that's been done for years via text messaging. Having an emotional affair, a remote emotional affair with someone via text messaging with emojis. And it is in essence as crazy as you are. There's an old mate of mine who got groomed and used rather roughly. An old friend of mine. From the internet, an internet friend of mine who got in that way. And she was actually gamed. It was the first time I'd ever come across. I knew in theory that it could be done. Because the whole world does it. In predictive programming is to use game theory. To game out. Have a strategy of false choices. It's what the world is if you want to think about it like that. And I know someone who described to me a process of being actually groomed with using game theory. And I'm like, game theory for basically lying to and grooming women? And then looked into that and didn't have to go very far to find the likes of Roosh V selling it. Or that time's equivalent. It wouldn't have been Roosh at the time. It would have been somebody else selling the equivalent of it. Mostly, as I've said before, New Age types, calling that some kind of attraction power. They'd be calling it something different. At least when Tate's taught people how to shit test others to death. Right? At least he's been honest about what its actual purpose is. So what's made him so effective? Other people selling how to brainwash the fucking vulnerable. They'd be calling it something different. Everybody, jump on Google now and do the test, if you can find it, that's called, are you an indigo child? I'll just put it to you as to by way of successful recruitment of fanatics into a mindset and a movement. Never seen anything like that as effective at marketing to people who suffer from a certain personality disorder that's usually derived from child abuse. Those indigo children appear to behave and react and feel much in the same way as every borderline personality disorder sufferer in the world. You're the upgrade in human evolution. These fucking scams, man. They've been going on for quite a while. Well, I've been watching the internet from my corner of it. God, the new age scam under the radar. The previous version of woke. Just flat out doing whatever you like, as wicked as you fucking want it to be, and calling it something different. Even shaping the world to better, to make it more socially acceptable. It's always about making something that's taboo socially acceptable. And it's been going on all the time, and it's been swinging to and fro. And then we find ourselves in a situation as to there's an awakening of what would be seen as common sense, or the people who will understand the right and wrong of things, when once upon a time that was the dominant group of people in our society. Now there's just a few, and I mean a few, but once upon a time that was the bedrock, was the right and wrong of things. If you look at the right and wrong of things for long enough, you get a feeling as to where it's like, okay, there's a repercussion of this wrong action, but there's also then a repercussion of its avoidance, and it's like a culpability or shame attached to those who fail to act. It's like that's what our political structure and systems become, as to where these fucking fantasists who found themselves in government for so long actually live it, don't they? Imagine, I used to love jobs you could live, do the whole thing. But for me, living the job used to also involve doing the job in the pub, you know, just always be on the case. But in my case, I'm not a Nazi who's trying to sell you fucking double glazing. I'm listening. I used to love them jobs where you just did you were just that guy. You just did that job all the time. You in them. This new way of talking. There's a better version of yourself. That's the best version of me. It's just busy, just living the job, just busy, taking it real seriously, but having a laugh at the same time. Enjoy that. If you get to be an MP, that's what you are. Suddenly it's like you can be said to actually matter, when you only matter as effective as you are. For some people you don't. For certain people who've got that job, they don't matter at all because they're ineffectual. They've got the power, and it's like, it's not about having the power, it's like how you use it. Understanding that, elected a councillor and elected an MP, what do you get to do? You get to ask questions that people have to answer, more or less. You ain't got much more power than that, so use that, because that's all you got. But it's a matter of that. It's like this reform, as it's grown quickly. I see this as really, and I don't mean to be mean, but it's going to be an old boys' school club, just like the Labour Party and the fucking Conservative Party always is and was. It's just going to be it's the refuge for all the failures. Amongst those people, though, you might find you've got a lot of like half reasonable people who've been in straitjackets because of the wokeness. Now it's a refuge for them, which is a plus. But I'm of the mind now that they've gone. It's like the people that a new movement could have used within the old system. The old system purged them. Time they decided they didn't want me no more. They've been out of the game for 10 and 15 years. That's the thing. They've been out of the game for 10 and 15 years. Oh no, we don't want these guys who rock the boat by pointing to things that are downright fucking stupid. No, we don't want that. We don't want people who roll their eyes at us when we say we're putting on a pride parade. We don't want that. You've gone. You've already been gone. You've already been done away with. We've taken legal advice from Stonewall and they've said we do well to get rid of you because people might sue us when you say something homophobic. That's where we've been living. So it's a matter of what's left. It can only be fanatics. Can only be desperate people. So that's a good realisation he had when he'd been talking, Roger Moore. Roger Moore is every bit as fucking sharp as I am, if not even sharper. Right? Roger Moore from Oldham. He's like, as far as he's concerned, fighting his struggle against the Labour Party, it doesn't matter who his allies are now. He's that desperate. And he's like, and he puts it to people, you don't understand how late the hour is. And just how bad things are getting and have gotten and have been allowed to be for so long, as to where if, say, did everything I could. I was a busy fucking body for days and days and days trying to get him in with Galloway, as to where this guy's a star, George. He's brilliant. You need to give him a platform on your platform, which is worldwide, massive. Bigger than any other platform has been allowed on. Give him your platform to make his case, and depending on what you think of him, bring him in to your political party as one of its main guys. I'm like, go and get him. At least have words with him. Do a deal with him. It's like, go and get this guy. Now, Roger was more than happy to negotiate that kind of thing with George. More than happy to. But, you know, George listened to the advice of others over me. He listened to the people who are a bit too familiar with those who Roger opposes. He listened to those people who cast aspersions on his character and repeated old lies about him that have been spread and the like. And George's like, no, I'm not touching that one. Okay, so it's like, who ends up finding Roger? Elon Musk. Oh, fuck no. Who gives him a platform? Who spreads his word around the world? Just the ones. Musk. Oh, shit. Who's he now in league with? Ben Habib, Rupert Lowe. Is he particularly happy about it? Not really. But he recognises that it's so late in the game, he can't be picky as to who his allies are. And it'd be a matter of my point as to where it's like, the enemy of my enemy is not my friend. His response to that is, it's 9 minutes past 9 and we've turned up late for the party. And he's right, isn't he? From his position, from his point of view, it's right. There's a thing where there's a disappointment with the reform as to where you've got no policy, you've got no backbone, you need to bring some experts in, whether they're MPs or not, you need spokesmen, you need people who specialise to be able to show that you've got the makings of what might be a fucking cabinet. And they're all demanding that, aren't they? And it'd be a matter of, hang on a minute, you've got to win first. But you're both right. It's like, but You got to win first. It's like to start throwing people out the window now, right, is a mistake. It's like you are a million miles from home, planning the the party for when you get back. Who's going to sit where? I think Roger's right. I think it's too late. I think it's actually too late to actually set about structure. It's too late. It's like, oh, we need to find this. We need to, and I'm of that opinion as to yeah, they should try and increase it. They should add to their pool of talent. But Farage makes that impossible because he discards so much of it. They need to be able to pool the talent. They need to be able to call. They should call upon. They've now made enemies. See, this is where the politics is a big problem for the right. Is that it really only, I think, exists on the internet. So it's not actually a big enough faction to be divided. It's not. It needs to be able to call upon all of its assets. And it can't. It's like, I think the voters in delivering reform in that by-election, because they've turned over there's never any competition. I'm very much of the Runcorn. I'll never forget the way that Runcorn smells. Whenever the word is Runcorn and Helsby, I'm like, oh, in Helsby you can't smell Rock Savage Power Station. It's nicer there. Because in Runcorn, it's like, everything stinks. I think you could probably, if you were to walk around in Runcorn all day, you'd smell a Runcorn on the train coming on. It fucking stinks. I don't know if it's changed, but it's, I'd say last I was there would be about 2008, and the place, I could pick up that the place just stunk. And the people who live there, I don't know if they could smell it anymore, but anyone who comes to that place, it's like a manure sort of chemical smell, but it's like manure. It's got a shit to it. It stinks as shit. It's awful. Sulphur being burnt off. It's like you're not telling me that's something harmless people are breathing in when you pick it up like that. So it's like they're people who are. If you ask me, it's like if you give them weapons, they will pick them up and use them. And reform in that by-election appeared to be a weapon left lying around. When in situations as to where people, if you leave, general public that's been pissed off, alienated, disenfranchised, you leave the right weapon lying around and they can be trusted to pick up the right weapon. Whether reform is a shit show of chaos and division, it stands for something, and people will still vote for it as a, not so much as a protest, as a damning indictment, a big fuck you. It's like, even though reform appeared to be a dictatorship and really disorganised and sort of cherry-picked and clannish even at its top in its organisation, people still vote for him to send a message. So I'm even in its absolutely broken and a state I don't like, I do actually think that reform is the only game in town, and that the Workers' Party, right, George's organisation, or also Imtiaz's thing, they might actually be able to win in Rochdale if they were to concentrate on it, and they might even be able to make an impression in Birmingham. As to be, okay, you've got some at the moment, appeased sects of, again, northern Pakistani community. It's like, maybe you should again reach for have them, let them be politically represented by somebody else other than the fucking Labour Party. It's not helping anyone. It's like, if you want a political solution for issues of, let's say, integrity in this country, the Workers' Party could be quite helpful. As to, yeah, it's like, have somebody else than the Labour Party or representing the Pakistani groups. Because the Labour Party's way of doing it is to, in essence, bribe their influencers. Turn them, and even find themselves in the company of fucking wrong-uns. Be under the influence of drugs money, gangs, and stuff like that. It's like, no, you need somebody other than the Labour Party representing that community. They're better off having a political voice than none. But the Labour Party have long since just took those people for granted, treated them like pets. And it's like, they need their own representation. You can't be Reform and go in and appease those guys. It's a matter of, as not so much a protest party, but as a local, let's say, stabilising force. Could actually be George's Workers' Party. He'd play a part, but he'd play a part in Bradford, and he'd play a part in Birmingham, and he'd play a part in Rochdale, and he'd play a part in Bradford, and he'd play, I've said Bradford, he'd play a part in Blackburn, he'd play a part in Burnley, he'd basically play a part anywhere down the M60 corridor where there's, and Birmingham obviously, where there's a large Muslim population who don't feel as though they're being any longer represented by the Labour Party. It's like, that vote is just not available to Reform. They're not even interested in building bridges to it. So it's like, I can't make a case as to say, well, the Workers' Party should do some kind of deal with Reform and join together. No, they shouldn't. But I'm saying that there is wind in the sails of, said, the Workers' Party. There is actually wind in it, that it's got a target demographic. What the thing is, the Workers' Party, this is a thing that's a big one. Reform got delivered in Rochdale in that seat because the Workers' Party got 400 Labour votes. Without the third party saboteur of the Workers' Party, Reform wouldn't have won. Who've the Workers' Party taken votes from? Labour. Rochdale can do that. The Workers' Party, it's a shame, but will end up kingmakers in all of those northern towns in any election if they continue to fight them. And they will. Where they feel they've got a chance, the Workers' Party will end up a kingmaker, much in the same way as the Liberals used to. Liberals can't make an impression anymore in this part of the world, but it's like their third slot, which usually settles every election. It's in the hands of George Galloway. Now, it's like, that's the thing, it's like Galloway should have been seen in the last election cycle as a power broker in all these places. George's number one enemy is the Labour Party, not Reform. I'll put that to you all. It's like, in the right places, that's the way to do it if you want Labour out. There really has to be that, because it's a matter of Conservative, right? There's all kinds of reasons why people in certain places vote for the Conservatives. You can insert your own but you get a conservative bastion of a place, like the places where our Labour MPs live, places that will never are unshakably conservative. It's like, you're not going to get them to vote their Conservatives out and go for reform. You're not. There's about, in this country, there's about, I don't know, it's about 112, 115 seats that will always remain totally blue, and it'd be like low population, and they, in essence, vote not to have any development done anywhere. That's what they want. They want it just to be left on its own, and they have minimal government. Constituencies that don't have a big town council already. They have a parks and recreations. They don't have a dole office. They don't have hospitals. These places in the country, it's like Conservatives will always win those. Why? Because the Conservatives will be in their own. They'll be trusted to keep it the way it is, and they'll vote for that. You'll never have them not vote for that. So it's like, without them, without the Conservative bedrock, right? You don't get in. The target last election should have been a hung parliament, but it should have been thought about. It should have been, right, okay, it should have been Operation Hung Parliament. And it should be, right, to get this, we need everyone to come to the table. And we need to be able to present, like the left did, to get the Tories out. The Carol Vorderman campaign should have had its equal and opposite, as to say, hang it. And put it into a fucking stalemate, as to where it then becomes a different phase of a fucking war. Take it to the end game. Take it to the next level. Hang it. Test the democracy. Hang it. They're running national campaigns to get the Tories out somehow, and strategic voting apps and shit. And the right's not doing anything to counter it. Not facing the reality that things can always get worse, and you're thinking that a Labour government will be no worse than a Conservative one. You are a fucking idiot. You weren't around last time this happened. Too young. You weren't around last time this happened, or you weren't paying attention. It should have been easy. It should have been easy to do that, but why wasn't it easy to do that? Because basically the Farage, Tice, Oakshott, Mike Graham, Talk TV, they want to own it. And they're not interested in sharing it with anyone. It's like they reform in the last election in the way that they refused any sort of tactical deal with anyone. Left, the Conservatives exposed to being beaten by a protest Labour vote in loads of places by like 500, 600. They could have won every single fucking one of them little tight ones that the massive majority that Labour have got. It was affected by that reform vote damaging a Conservative vote, and it's like, if they'd have just stuck their heads together and communicated, they could have won all those seats and had that own parliament. It was there. It was the easiest outcome. It was the most likely outcome of the election if the right had have had any cohesion and there wasn't this rebel reform faction making sure that Labour won every fucking seat that they really fought for because of protest votes. So it's like there was a targeted campaign by the city lefty elite to get the vote out, to get rid of the Conservatives, and at the same time on the right there was a movement to get the Conservatives out as well. And it's like, why are you doing this? The only, and that's the thing as to where I don't talk to Galloway, but at the time he was actually the only one who saw it right, of the ones who were talking. He was actually the only one who saw it like I saw it. Hitchens saw it like that too. Like, you know, you're the only one who sees the real danger of the Labour Party. You're the only one who sees it. You're the only one who's getting what comes next. He spoke to the press, George, and he made a very good case as to say that a vote for Starmer is a vote to be hell-bent on World War III. And he's like, that is of a major concern to me. I don't want to see that. That's the biggest thing on my radar. Is to it was absolutely crucial that George Galloway, as in essence an independent, be in the House of Parliament to be able to challenge the UK government on the absurdity of its flexing. He is the Labour Party, of the old Labour Party's foreign policy superstar, isn't he? He was. He was someone they sent all over the world meeting all these people. And then they did, he's met Saddam Hussein. He said, yeah, and I was a Labour MP when I did. And it's like, I'm the golden boy. They sent me everywhere to go and talk to everyone. Like I say, if actually a legitimate political force in this country, George Galloway is, you can bring about 1 million votes with him. Now, the way that the two past the post system works, you get fuck all for that. But the way that elections work, you're a kingmaker in certain places. Actually, that position that last night of a by-election, one local, I haven't seen how the councils have turned out yet because the results haven't come out, but there are actually a by-election count's been done, and the MP by-election has been done. And based on that, I think it should be seen as being a good night, actually, for the Workers' Party. It's like, in every case, they've, for this time, facilitated, in those elections, facilitated a reform win. Something. I don't see that they've got that they would say, but they're not political. They're not really a political force. The Workers' Party, Britain, but in certain places they are, and in those places you want Labour defeated if you're going to get rid of them. If you're going to get something different, the best way of doing it is to have a friendly relationship with the Workers' Party of Great Britain. It is. Because in those places, they get access to a vote, to actually even deliver you a vote that you would never have got otherwise. As to where there's a reality amongst those Muslim bloc communities that they only get, right, what their influencers ask for. That ridiculous demand in an airport being built in Kashmir is endemic of it. They promise them what their bosses want. The people who influence, the people who come along and say, oh, I can bring you 500 votes, what's in it for me? They're the only ones who are benefiting from it, and they know it. So they're looking for their own political solution, and in certain places they've truly protest voted and got themselves independent MPs who are just, in essence, who appear to be like fanatics. It's just a reflection of it. So under the auspices of the Workers' Party, it's a matter of you could give voice. Those fanatics could have political representation that's reasonable, as opposed to what it is now, which is making demands, screaming and shouting. What would you rather have? Them taking matters into their own hands and becoming ridiculous politicians, or them being organised, led. Say I'm on the outside looking in here, so like I did say, I did have a word with him. I might try and ring him actually, be cheeky. Saying, yeah, 700 would have done you, wouldn't it? Yeah, handily. Yeah, 700. That's what we needed. So, because say within this whole system, it's like, regardless of if there's a political revolution, there are bastions that won't fall for unique reasons, really, in every constituency. And there are those who are embedded within these constituencies who know along where these lines are. It's like the local know-how, which I know is in every town. I'm not a stats guy really, but for know-how, it's like I've got an idea about the pattern of where Rochdale votes and operates. And I've got other friends in Rochdale who are just as switched on as I am. There is an answer to that guy. There's an answer in Oldham to that. That's Rajamia. If you go to Bury, next town along, they'll have their answer to it as well. Every town's got their own answer to, oh, this is the way to change things. And it's like, to be that, to go along and say, I want to join the reform, I want to get involved, I want to have a voice. You see, you don't appear to be in a structure as to where you could get one. They've already appointed the local regional governors, and it's a matter of the first job in hand would be to displace these old ones with elected ones. But it's like the process of them doing that's probably it's not going to happen this year. So it's like in places like Rochdale, it's like Reform have won a council seat without having to effectively go door to door, without having a campaign, without having to spend any money. And having no local infrastructure, no local membership, no local contact, no local name, nobody. Without an infrastructure, they've managed to put in a council. So this guy's just a member of the general fucking public, isn't he, who's filled in a form. It's like, not perfect. But if you want Labour out there, you have to settle for that. Not perfect. Not perfect has to be good enough. And I hate it. I think it's terrible. I think it's the way you've created a bandwagon for a load of cunts to jump on. But there's no choice. It sucks like that. That there's no time to organise anything that's so that it's like a leap of faith. And that's exactly what the other fucking parties did. That's exactly what the Labour Party's asked people to do to get elected. Hope for change. So I see you've got a situation as to where it's fragile. Unless actually, that's the thing, a leader can emerge, because strange things do happen in the modern world. Unless a leader can emerge that bridges the gap, that'd be the thing. If a leader, someone was actually to step up, there'd be a surprise, a bolt from the blue, something just appear from left field as to where a leader might appear. If a leader appears, it'd be completely different. But unfortunately, as to Farage, we haven't got a leader. You've got a salesman. Who, again, has the same problem as Galloway. He's spread a lot too thin. But he wants to keep all of the responsibility. So it's like, that ain't going to work. You need a leader that people can get behind. People have got behind Farage in the past, and they still root for him. But he's not interested in building a party. And it's like, no, there needs to be a party. And 9/10 of this country's problems are to do with the councils. I'm telling you, the powers in the councils, the things that matter, you can deal with by fighting the council, taking the council. That's the thing to do. It doesn't matter really. It doesn't matter if a conservative government that promises to do all kinds of traditional conservative things gets in. If Rochdale Council decide to go to war with them, they'll make things worse for us and blame them, which is what they've done for the last, ever since the Labour Party last got booted. The councils have been like Operation Gladio, like left behind saboteurs, trying to do everything they can to make the government look bad. We've had a funding cut. We're suddenly really irresponsible. It's like it's not a science, it's a poetry. It's like the way that it is to be a candidate for reform or whatever, you would have to jump through all kinds of hoops, and the Labour Party just send one of their mates from university and nobody vets them, and it's just wallop, bang, you're an MP from nowhere, nobody, straight from university, wallop, MP. It's like they can just put anyone up because they don't matter anyway. They're just filling seats. It's all taken care of by, again, dictators, powerful quangos. They're almost private individuals making government decisions anyway. Professionals, experts. Like MPs haven't got any real power. Parliament's not got any real power. Your fucking council has. You'll find in most places your council is run as a closed shop by the cabinet. Like 5 people run the entire council, make all the decisions. And most of the time, your Labour council are fucking half-wits that get led a merry dance and told exactly what they want to hear off university-educated corporate executives that are your council top employees. Fucking woke bullshit artists who find it easy to run rings around the oversight of the terrible, terrible Labour Council. What goes on? You got council people who are in a position as to where they're supposed to oversight the corporation. The council, your elected councillors are supposed to be the oversight of the corporation. They're supposed to be watchdogs of what the council itself's doing. And they're not. They're its cheerleaders. They're its support. They're its rah, 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 rah. They're its defenders. They're its guardians. And it's like, that doesn't work for anybody. It means that the council's a vehicle as to where anyone who wants to get up to no good will get up to no good, and people will point the finger at the council, and then there'll be a knee-jerk reaction to say, oh no, you must defend the council. That's us, that's our side. And it plays out like that. It's like you face that has its own dynamics in every single one of these wards or places where Labour are in control. It's like the drama goes on and then they just slip by you, another fucking idiot. Who's this person? Nobody. Not from around your neighbourhood. Not from your town. Suddenly becomes your political representative. Like some big fat middle-aged woman. Knows better.